Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another spoiler video. So today, we're going to be recapping all the cards that have been spoiled since, I want to say about 4 o'clock my time from the previous day. So looking at about almost, not quite 24 hours, but we're getting somewhat close on there. So we've got quite a few cards to go over, and as always, it's a spoiler video. If you don't want to look at spoilers, don't check out the video. Other thing is, I also threw on at the very end the upcoming store championship promos. They're not brand new cards or anything, but obviously it's brand new art and things like that. And I figured I would throw it in here since they were revealed. So we're gonna hop right into it here. First spoiler: Guardian of Ghirapur. So it's 3 mana for a 3/3 flying angel. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to one other target creature or artifact you control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Solid angel, 3/3 for 3, blinks, not bad. Doesn't have flash, sorry. But what's really cool about this is it can be hit by Collected Company in formats like Pioneer, which is pretty awesome. Being able to flicker your angels, get even more life gain, pretty good value overall. Good chance that something like this probably will see play in that deck. In standard, I mean, it's a 3/3 flyer, bounce something with value. Yeah, it's probably good. I wouldn't be surprised if it saw some play for sure. Then we have Invasion of Tolvada. 3 black-white for a battle. Has 5 counters on it. When it enters the battlefield, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's good. Reanimation for 5 mana. Solid. Let's check with the other side. The Broken Sky. It's an enchantment. Creatures tokens you control get +1/+0 and have lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white and black spirit with flying. Solid overall. If you're playing a token strategy, it's pretty good. It can be a little awkward because it's a reanimation card and then you're like making tokens, so it doesn't fit super well in the theme together. I mean, it's a powerful card, don't get me wrong, but it's interesting, that's for sure. Great card limited, for sure. This is definitely a very good card limited. Then we have Invasion of Ravnica, a colorless siege. Oh, colorless battle. 4 damage counters. When Invasion of Ravnica enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls that isn't exactly 2 colors. Pretty good. Gets rid of colorless stuff and gets rid of obviously the monocolor stuff, or technically 3 color stuff. Kind of like a... And it's not even, it's permanent too. It's not even like, oh, until this leaves play, it's exile it. It's exile something for 5 mana. So very cool. I wouldn't be surprised if like in like modern, like Tron played this, like just because it's a colorless removal thing, like that would be kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know what exactly he's gonna want this type of card, but it's good nonetheless. And then it flips into Guildpact Paragon, 5/5 artifact construct. Whenever you cast a spell that's exactly 2 colors, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a card that's exactly 2 colors from them and put it in your hand. The front side I really like. The back side feels like an uncommon. I don't know. I think the front side is the main reason to play this. 100%. 5 mana, colorless, exile something. Back side is kind of weak, but honestly, I like the card still, regardless. We have Zurgo and Ojutai. This card I'm really excited for. I don't typically like blue cards, but this is kind of an exception. So 4 mana, 2 blue, red, white for a legendary orc dragon with flying and haste. It has hexproof as long as it entered the battlefield this turn. Whenever 1 or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, on the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. You may return 1 of those dragons to its owner's hand. Yeah, there's a lot to like. It's the 5 mana, 4/4 flying haste. It has hexproof when it enters too, so most likely it's going to get in some damage. You get to draw a card, and you can return a dragon to your hand. If you're a control deck, you could keep returning the Zurgo and Ojutai, so you get in there, bounce it back. So control decks, especially playing at sorcery speed, even at instant speed, are going to have a really hard time beating Zurgo and Ojutai. So very big fan of this card. I am interested to see if how much play it'll see. I think if there's a Jeskai deck in standard, it's going to definitely play this card. Next card is Monastery Mentor. This is a huge reprint. No one expected this in this set, but I'm very happy it's back. So it's a 2/2 for 3 with prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 monk with prowess. Awesome reprint. I'm very excited to see it back. It was already Pioneer legal, so it's not like we're getting a brand new Pioneer card or anything. But I'm happy this card's coming back. And it'll be on Arena, which is great, which honestly is probably the most exciting thing for most people. It'll be on Arena for Explorer, and it'll be on for Historic for the 5 people that still play it. So, very cool. Next card, Grafted Butcher. 2/2 for 2. Phyrexian Samurai. When it enters the battlefield, Phyrexians you control gain Menace until end of turn. Other Phyrexians you control get +1/+1. Tap 3 and a black, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Return Grafted Butcher from your graveyard to the battlefield. A lot to like. It's a Phyrexian Lord, which is great. It's a 2-mana Lord. Relevant text gives Phyrexians Menace. Also extremely easy to get back from the graveyard. It seems like white-black or like Mardu or like black-white, if I didn't already say that. It seems like those are like the main Phyrexian colors for the most part. Cool to see a Phyrexian Lord. If there's a lot of good Phyrexians, there's a good chance that this card will see play. So overall, I'm a big fan of it. It's a very, very good Lord. Then we have Chrome Host Seed Shark. It's a 2/4 for 2 and a blue. Flying Phyrexian Shark. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. So, this card seems good. Getting the incubate obviously is great. You can turn them into creatures. Some decks will just want this purely to make artifacts, and then take advantage of making all those artifacts. So yeah, I think this card's really good. I don't know how good it's going to be in like Standard or even Pioneer. Probably won't see a lot of play there, but again, Commander, this card is incredible. Like if you're playing a blue artifact deck, this card's probably just an auto include. So very cool to see it. Voldaren Thrillseeker, 1/1 for 3 with backup 2. When this creature enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. If it's another creature, it gains this following ability until end of turn. Tap 1, sacrifice this creature. It deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's essentially a fling. Probably is pretty good. Maybe even Rakdos Sacrifice in Pioneer would maybe want a card like this. Yeah, I think it's good overall. Pretty good, pretty cool vampire. I'm a fan of it. Then we have Rankle and Torbrand. 3/4 for 1, 2 black and 2 red. Legendary creature, fairy dwarf. Flying, first strike, and haste. When they attack, they deal combat damage to a player or battle. Choose any number. Each player creates a treasure token. Each player sacrifices a creature. If a source would deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals that much +2. So a lot to talk about. Very cool, flavorful card. Looks like they're the people from Call Time that are coming to battle. Also relevant, it has first strike. So like if you're attacking with other smaller red creatures, it has first strike. So you can do if a source would deal damage, it deals +2. You're able to do that before your other creatures deal combat damage, so you can get that relevant ability there. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. They took Rankle and Torbrand. Boom, Rankle and Torbrand. Pretty simple. So I like the card. I think it's pretty cool. Then we have Baral and Kari Zev. 2/4 for 1 blue-red, legendary human with first strike and menace. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a card with lesser mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, create First Mate Ragavan, a legendary 2/1 red monkey pirate creature token. It gains haste until end of turn. So, a lot to like about this card. Obviously, you either get to copy a spell from your hand, cast a spell from your hand, or get a monkey for casting an instant or sorcery. Good card. Enough said. It's just one of those like good value cards. I'm a big fan of it personally. Then we have Invasion of Dominaria. It's 2 and a white. Battle with 5 damage counters. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life and draw a card. Probably the most simple of the battle cards we've seen so far. Also like the dragons in the artwork. Very cool. Then it flips into Serra Faithkeeper. 4/4 Flying Vigilant. Serra Angel. Just solid card. Gain 4, draw a card. Get a Serra Angel. I'm on board with it. Next. We have Zhalfirin Lancer, 3/3 for 3. Human Knight. Whenever another knight enters the battlefield under your control, Zhalfirin Lancer gets +1/+1 and gains vigilance until end of turn. Solid Knight, 3/3 for 3. Can get bigger. If you're in white, there's a ton of knights in this set everywhere. You know, if you play this on like turn 3, you know, you just keep following up with more knights. And it turns into, it's a 4/4 with vigilance. Pretty good stats overall. I think this is a pretty solid uncommon. You know, like if you get, I think there's a lot of black knights in this deck, in this set too. You know, so like white black knights, if you're like drafting it, I think it could be pretty good overall. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Hoarding Broodlord, 7/6 for 7, 8, 5 black with Convoke and Flying. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it. Spells you cast from exile have Convoke. Cool Dragon. I think based on this art, it kind of looks like it's from Silumgar's Horde, I believe, on Tarkir. Runescarred Demon is outclassed now. Weird. This is just better than it. It's got the Convoke. You know, the spell, you can cast it with Convoke. And the spells you cast from exile. It's just, it doesn't even have to be the card you tutored for. Solid. I'm a big fan of this card. It's very good. Joyful Storm Sculptor, 2/3 for 5, 3 blue-red. When it enters the battlefield, make 2 1/1 red, blue and red elementals. Whenever you cast a spell that has Convoke, Joyful Storm Sculptor deals 1 damage to each opponent in each battle they protect. Solid card in general. If, you know, there's a lot of red Convoke in this set, which there is. I know there's at least Stoke the Flames. This really helps with your Convoke spells. Seems like a pretty solid uncommon for draft. Then we have Into the Fire. 2 in a red sorcery. Choose 1. Deals 2 damage to each creature, planeswalker, in battle. Or put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library. Then draw that many +1 cards. Lot to like. If this was an instant, it would be cracked. Thank God it's not. It's like a smaller board wipe, but it also, you can just, you know, draw cards out of it. Big fan of it overall. This card has a lot of potential. Cards like this are good, but they're never like, they never quite make it into like standard and pioneer decks. Typically, like I know the red one does from Zendikar Rising, but it's also because it's a land. So I'm not sure where this card will go, but even just the first ability, it will most certainly see play in standard or even pioneer, depending on how huge battles are. Ravenous Sailback, kind of the alluding to the snapping sailback from original Ixalan. It's a 3/4 for 5 dinosaur. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. It gains haste until end of turn, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. Pretty good. You know, you can blow up the incubation tokens in limited. It's also 3/4 haste. Definitely not as good as the snapping sailback from back in the day, but still a solid card overall. I think it, you know, it's a good uncommon. Next, we have Streetwise Negotiator. 0/2 for 2 with backup 1. This creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So, essentially, it's a 2/2 with backup. Or, actually, you can make it a 1/3. Excuse me. And then it's a 3/3. So, 3/3 for 2 mana. Sign me up. Or, I mean, that's really good for an uncommon. So, good card. So this card, I don't know what the name is, but I know what the card does. So 4 blue, obviously instant. It has Convoke, and then it's choose 1 or both. It's counter target spell, or draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Solid uncommon. You know, it's a good rate. You know, even just drawing 2, discarding a card. Kind of reminds me of like Cryptic in a way. But yeah, it's great. It has Convoke. So even if you don't have 6 mana, you know, good chance you'll be able to cast it if you got a couple creatures in play. So I'm a fan of it. Next we have Invasion of Mog. Sorry if I mispronounced that. 2 green-white battle. When Invasion of Mog enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. For 4 mana, it's a lot, but let's check out what the backside does. Ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It's fine. Definitely, you know, it's an uncommon. Yeah, it's an uncommon one. Oh, it's fine. You know, put 1/1 counters on each creature. You know, there's a lot of 1/1 counter synergies, especially in this color in this set, seems like. So, you know, solid card for draft. This card, 5 and a blue, I don't know the name of it. It has Convoke. It's an instant. Until end of turn, you may cast sorceries as though they're an instant, and then whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery, I believe you copy it either once or twice. So pretty good card overall. It's like a weird quicken, but you also like your stuff gets, you know, flash, but then you can also copy something. So a cool card overall. Again, seems like a commander card. I feel like I say that a lot, but you know, I would say that's what this card is. Invasion of Segovia. 2 and a blue. Battle. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Krakens with trample. We need our Krakens having trample, obviously, especially if they're 1/1s. Like, of course. Let's check with the other side. Cadis? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Sea Tyrant of Segovia. 3/3 non-creature spells you cast have Convoke. At the beginning of your end step, untap up to 4 target creatures. Seems pretty good for commander. Is that a rare? That is a rare. Okay. Yeah, I like this card. In my blue-green Serpent commander deck, I'm definitely playing this card. I really like that in the deck. Just a good, cool card overall. Very, very flavorful. That's the one thing I really like about it. Next, we have Invasion of Kaladesh. Blue-red. When it enters the battlefield, when Invasion of Kaladesh enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter with flying. And then it transforms into Aetherwing Golden Scale Flagship. It's an X4 with flying. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control, and it has crew 1. Cool. Vehicles are back. Which I think this is our first vehicle we've seen, if I'm not mistaken. Besides the point, really great with all of our incubation tokens. You know, they can get decently big in limited, which is cool. And it's an X4 flyer. It's just going to be bigger than most other things. So, like the card overall. It's pretty sweet. Storm the Seed Core. 2 green. Beautiful artwork, by the way. Just very good artwork. Sorcery. Distribute 4 1/1 counters among up to 4 target creatures you control. Creatures you control gain vigilance and trample until end of turn. Then, solid for limited. Buff up your creatures, vigilance and trample. Like, that's just like, boom. Like, I'm going to smack you for a bunch of damage, and I can still block on my next turn. So, good card in general. Not Vold Hermit. 4/4 for 4. It's a troll. 5 and 1 blue Phyrexian. Transform it. Not Vold Hermit. Jeez, I have a hard time pronouncing that. So, solid already on the front. 4/4 for 4. Let's see what it turns into. Chrome Host Hulk. 5/5 gains. It's now blue. Whenever Chrome Host Hulk attacks, up to 1 other target creature has base power toughness 5/5 until end of turn. So it's pretty solid. It's a 4/4. Transform it. It's a 5/5, and then it can make another creature a 5/5. So big fan of it in general. It just seems like a good card for limited. Hidetsugu and Kairi. Sorry if I mispronounced that again. I'm terrible with some of these names. 5/4 for 5. 2 blue, black for a Ogre Demon Dragon. That's a interesting creature type. With flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Then put 2 cards from your hand on the top of your library in any order. So it's a brainstorm. All right. When it dies, exile the top card of your library. Target opponent loses life equal to its mana value. If it's an instant or sorcery spell, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. This card has a lot of potential to be abused. You know, if you're playing against like mid-range and control, at the very least, you know, you get a brainstorm, something good if they decide to kill it. Seems like a cool card in general. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this card will be abused somehow in Commander for sure. With the whole, you don't have to cast it, and you just dome somebody for, assuming that it's a big spell, you just dome them for a lot. So yeah, I think this card's pretty cool, and it's in blue-black. Nice to see some blue-black dragons also. Doomskar Creek. That's not the official name of it, but it's a 4/3 for 2 green, and it has I'm forgetting the name of the mechanic all of a sudden, but it's the one where you put a 1/1 counter on it, and if you put it on another creature, it gains the following ability until end of turn. And then it says also when it deals combat damage to a opponent or battle, reveal that many. Well, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You can put a creature or battle from among those into your hand. That's what the card does. So, and I believe it also has trample. So yeah, good card in general. I wish it was 1 less mana. If it was 1 less mana, I think we'd be cooking. But I know it also can make itself a 5/4, so I mean like a 5/4 for 3 mana would be like kind of like really good. I mean, Steel Leaf Champion. But anyways, yes, I think this card's pretty cool. How relevant dealing, getting effects from dealing to battles, I don't know how good that's going to be, but it's a very interesting card, though. Next, we have Knight Errant of Eos. 4 and a white for a 4/4 with Convoke. It's a human knight. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 creature cards with mana value X or less from among them, where X is the number of creatures that convoked Knight Errant of Eos. Put the revealed cards in your hand, then shuffle. So, it's a knight. We love getting more knight cards. You can play it. It's obviously great in Knight Tribal, but you can also just play it in, like, any small creature deck. It's kind of like Venerated Loxodon from years ago, where you convoke, and then like each creature that convoked, it gets a 1/1 counter or whatever. Similar style here, except you're digging deep trying to hit more creatures. So yeah, I think it's a good card in general. It'll probably see play just like Venerated Loxodon used to. Bloodfede Phoenix. But I know what the card does. So it's a 2/2 for 2 Phoenix with flying, and it can't block. Whenever an instant or sorcery, I think it's red instant or sorcery you control deals damage to an opponent or battle, you can pay 1 red, and then if you do, you return it to the battlefield and it gains haste until end of turn. So, giving off Arclight Phoenix vibes here. Burn in Pioneer, well, probably Pioneer, definitely Standard, they're going to want this. 100%. Pay 2 mana for a Lightning Strike, trigger, pay a red, get it back, hit for 2. It can't block, thankfully. If this card could block, this would be just absurdly good. But I still think it's good. Even though it can't block, I still think a card like this is very, very good. So, big fan of it overall. I'm really excited to see where this card goes. Next, we have Invasion von Asgol. Obviously, that's foreign. It's black-red battle. When it enters the battlefield, an opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. And then the backside is at the beginning, I believe it's Menace. And then at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield this turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So cool overall. Flavorful. Even the front side, Rakdos, and then sacrificing a creature planeswalker, very good rate. So overall, I think this card's pretty solid. Has a good shot at seeing some standard play for sure too, especially since black is so big in the format right now. Good chance that a card like that could see some play. Next, we have Errant and Giada. 2/3 for white, blue, and 1. Legendary Human Angel with flash and flying. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast spells with flash or flying from the top of your library. So, immediately, people have been talking about this card for a little bit now since it's been spoiled. I think maybe Angels could maybe consider splashing blue, especially in Pioneer. I think even Spirits maybe could play a card like this. I don't know. It's obviously not a spirit, so it'd be a little awkward. But being able to get that kind of effect is pretty good. Even though obviously there is already they're Bant Spirits and they have Realm Waker Walker. But I think it's definitely worth considering this in. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. In Angels for sure. So I think it's a pretty cool card. It's just very unique, and I'm a fan of it personally. Next, we have Sculpted Perfection, 2 white-black enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, incubate 2. I was about to say investigate 2. Phyrexians you control get +1/+1. Solid. Again, seems like white-black is really going in on the Phyrexian theme. So if you're playing that in draft, you're definitely going to want to pick up this card for sure. Next, it's Esika and a human that I don't remember. It's a 4/4 for 2 blue and green. Creatures we control gain vigilance and can tap for 1 mana of any color. Whenever we cast a creature spell, if we used 3 creatures to make mana to cast that spell, we draw a card. That's what it does. I know that sounds really confusing, but if we tap our creatures for mana, like at least 3 of them, we draw a card. So, good card in general. It's going to see a ton of commander play. I like this in limited too, because all of our creatures now can tap for mana, and they have vigilance, so we can get in with them, and then we can make mana. Also, cats. Awesome. Next card, City on Fire. 5 red enchantment with Convoke. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead. So right off the bat, it's a Fire Emancipation. So instead of 6 mana, it's 8, but with Convoke. seems like a good card in general. I think this card's going to has a lot of potential in Commander for sure. Standard, probably not so much. Probably not so much Pioneer either, but very cool card nonetheless. Next, we have Tribute to the World Tree. This card is bonkers, let me just tell you right off the bat. Green, green, green enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. Otherwise, put 2+1/+1 counters on it. So, standard, if green is good, this card will see play. Pioneer specifically, this card's awesome, especially in like the green, like Steel Leaf Stompy Coco decks. We're drawing so many cards. Oh no, I drew my 8th Llanowar Elf that I don't want to draw this turn. It's a 3/3. We just play it, get 2 1/1 counters on it. This card's absolutely incredible. Green deck staple pretty much in Commander. I know it's triple green, so if you're playing like 3 colors, that's a little tougher. But this card is very, very good. I'm interested to see where this card's going to go. I'm definitely going to pick these up and play them in something, maybe with Polukranos, our new Polukranos. We'll see. Overall, big fan of it, though. Next, we have Truga Cliff Charger. This is from the Gruul battle card that was revealed yesterday. So this is the flip side of it. If you want to check out that card, it's in the spoiler video I posted yesterday, if you'd like to check that out. So it's a 3/4 trample. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a basic, land, or battle card. Oh, sorry. Yeah, search your library for a land card or battle card and put it in your hand. Good card in general. It can grab more than a basic, or we can grab another battle and just keep battling, you know? So, yeah, good card in general. It's an uncommon, solid stats, and it's Gruul. Perfect. It's exactly what we want. Next, we have Phyrexian Gargantua. 4/4 for 6, 4 black. Phyrexian Horror. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Bigger version of Phyrexian Rager. Phyrexian Rager is a 2/2 for 3. Draw a card, lose a life. This is just 2 of them combined into 1 card. So solid 6-drop overall. Probably going to end up being one of the better uncommon, like big black creatures or big creatures in general at uncommon. 4/4, draw 2, lose 2. Sign me up. Next, we have Sunblessed Guardian. 2/2 for 2. Human Cleric. 5 in a red Phyrexian. Transform it. So, 2/2 for 2. Solid stats already. So, the flip side of it is Furnace Blessed Conqueror. 3/3. Now is red-white. When it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it. Put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each 1/1 counter on Furnace Blessed Conqueror. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step. Good card. What can I say? Just solid card. 2/2 for 2. Flip it over, becomes even better. Definitely going to be a very good probably one of the best white 2-drops we've seen so far in the set at the uncommon slot. Definitely a good card to look out for in limited going forward. Next, we have Kogla and Yadaro. 2 red, green for a 7/7 legendary ape dinosaur turtle. So these are obviously some of the representatives from Ikoria. When they enter the battlefield, choose 1. It gets trample and haste until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. Or you can tap 2 red-green, discard Kogla and Yadaro. Destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. Shuffle them into your library from your graveyard, then draw a card. So, couple things. 7/7 for 7, trample and haste. Solid. 7/7 kills anything. Great. Discarded, destroying an artifact or enchantment and drawing a card. Awesome too. What's also really cool about this is how you don't even need a target. It's up to 1 artifact or enchantment, so you can just discard it, draw a card, like, oh, I'm mana flooded. Nope, I'll get it back later, which is great. And it also shuffles. So it's not like if you bottom it, like, you're never going to see it again. It shuffles. So there's, still good chance you can draw it again. So big fan of this card, and it's Gruul, which is the best color combination hands down. So easy. Next, we have Invasion of Muraganda. 4 in a green for a battle. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Love all the dinosaurs on here, by the way. It looks awesome. And then it transforms into Primordial Plasm. 4/4. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature gets +2/+2 and loses all abilities until end of turn. Probably one of the not as good battles that we've seen so far, but it'll come to we'll see how good the battles are in general. I mean, paying 5 mana for a hunt the week is not great, especially since we can get that rate at like 3 mana half the time. So we'll see if this card's really any good, how valuable battles are going forward. Next we have Harid. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Artisan. 2 and a red for a 2/3 with haste. Human Artificer. 3 and a white. Transform it. Transforms into Phyrexian Skyflare. It's a 3/4 with flying and haste. Front side is meh. Back side, whew. Yeah, 3/4 flying and haste and limited is extremely good. We'll see where this card is going forward, but probably going to be a solid uncommon to pick up if you're in red. Next we have Invasion of Arcavios. 3 blue, 7 damage counters. I think that's one of the highest ones we've seen so far. When it enters the battlefield, search your library, graveyard, and or outside the game for an instant or sorcery card you own, reveal it, and put it in your hand. So, okay, solid. It's not as good as, like, Solve the Equation, but obviously, well, actually, it's different because it's not your library. You can search your graveyard or outside the game. So it's also a wish card, which is very interesting. So you're going to get your best instant or sorcery that you want, or the one you want the most, whatever. 7 damage counters. Let's see what it does on the flip side. Invocation of the Founders. Enchantment. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Gross. Awesome in Commander. Probably not going to be great in Standard or Pioneer. But in Commander, they get this to flip. Things are going to get out of hand really fast. So this is a very cool card. So I believe this is our last spoiler we have to talk about today. I believe the next one is the Store Championship promo, which we'll find out now. Yes. Okay. So this is the participation promo for the upcoming Store Championship at the end of May. It's a Strangle. This is originally from Capenna, so this isn't a new card. 1 red sorcery, deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Solid, very, very solid participation promo. Good in Standard, good in Pioneer. Big fan of it. Next one, we have Aether Channeler. This is the top 8 promo. It's a 2/1 for 2 and a blue, Human Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Make a 1/1 bird with flying, not a blurred, a bird. Return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and draw a card. Always thought this card was really good. It hasn't really seen any play, but I thought this card was going to be awesome. And then, the drum roll for the winner is a extended art foil textless Thalia in the Gitrog monster. I love the artwork. So, from my memory, it's like a 4/4 with first strike and death touch. You can play an additional land each turn, and then when it attacks, you have to sacrifice a creature, or sacrifice like a permanent or something, and then if you do, you like draw a card and lose a life, or draw a card, gain a life or something. Solid card in general, overall. And yeah, that is some beautiful artwork. So I'm very excited about that, trying to, throw my hat in the ring to try and win something like this. It's going to be very cool. So that is the end of our spoilers. Man, that was such a long video, but we finally made it to the end of the updated spoilers. Most likely tomorrow I'll give it out another update for all the spoilers that we had since then. I feel like we've seen a lot of the beef from the set so far, but I'm sure obviously there's still going to be some goodies up ahead. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining me in this spoiler video. If you want to pick up on past spoiler videos, obviously they're going to be in the same playlist if you want to check it out. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.